Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, a warm welcome to Tenem Express. Host Aisha Latun in this segment, as we all know, Thursday morning. So we have a recipe segment, and this morning we have none other than our special guest in studio, Mahdi Van Der Schyff, who's a home-based cook as well. But Mahdi, assalamu alaikum to you, and indeed a warm welcome.
Wa alaikum salam, Auntie Aisha. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, shukran, yourself.
Alhamdulillah, I can't complain, you know.
When we speak about, we're going to touch on your recipe, which is the
Yes.
sweet and sour Thai noodle recipe.
Yes.
And I think this is one thing that we need to actually learn the correct way, as well as how to eat it, I suppose, as well. But, when we speak about yourself as a home-based cook, where did the love for cooking come from?
Auntie Aisha, it started a long time ago. As a child, first and foremost, I like to eat.
Okay.
I think we all like to eat. But I think then at a young age already, obviously, I grew up in a house with a lot of women in the house, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
And I learned a lot from each one of them. My mother, my aunts, my grandmother, because they all cooked and they took turns. And, the one would make this and the other one would make that. And you would learn, different food types from all of them. And then also from my father, Allah Raham, he taught me, the fast food style, because he used to sell food. So he taught me that aspect, him and his wife. And, they taught me how to do the fast food, the burgers and the chicken and all those kind of stuff.
She had a bit of everything, but
Yes.
we all know that, when it comes to pastas and noodles, this is something that our parents rarely made or never made, because it was always a wholesome food with the rice or breedies and stews that they would make, isn't it?
That's correct, Auntie Aisha. I love those foods as well.
Yes.
I totally love my my breedies, my worteltjies and eitjies, all those stuff. I love it. But I also like to explore with other foods.
Yes.
And where that started, Auntie Aisha, when I was on Hajj with my grandmother and my mother in the year 2000.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. And we used to go walk. That time Makkah was a little bit different. There wasn't all the malls and that stuff, and you used to have all the souks and Samia Street and Kifayat Street and all those streets.
Yes.
And we used to go and walk there and go and experience other foods. You go to the Indonesian shop and you eat those satay noodles, the
Yes,
small
yes.
chicken on the stick or meat on the stick. Or you go by the Pakistanis and enjoy their type of curries, which is different to ours. Which is, you like the Malay curry, but you also say, but this is also nice.
Yes.
And you go by the Turkish and you have the kebabs and also all this different cultures coming together in food as well. So as much as we can speak of Makkah continuously about the spiritual
Yes,
side,
yes.
there's also the food side, which you also enjoy. So you go to all the different places and you enjoy all the different types of food, alhamdulillah. And that made me also want to, because now you can't readily get it. Okay, alhamdulillah, now you can get Turkish restaurants here, you get this and you get
Yes.
that. But that time, you feel, okay, but I want to try that again. So look at a recipe, how do I make that? How do I make satay noodles? How do I make Turkish kebabs? And you go and you do that.
Mahdi, does that mean that you Google a lot of things and you also watch YouTube to get the proper way of how to do things? Tell us about it.
It is one of the favorite ways to learn these days, Auntie Aisha. There's Dr. Google and
Yes.
YouTube and all this stuff. And obviously I love watching cooking shows. And then I try and replicate, what those chefs, great chefs and people are doing on TV.
There's one thing very unique to Cape Townians, and that is that they never stick to a recipe. They always want to put a twist to it. Tell us about it.
Auntie Aisha, I've got a recipe here,
Okay.
right? Which I myself don't follow. I did it this morning when I made it again. I realized, okay, let me just check. Is that the amount? It is more or less the amount. But ek is een van hy.
En
Gooi
gooi.
net in. Maar jy moet reg proe.
Ja.
Gooi net in. Reg proe en reg lyk. For me, that is very important also.
So, as a home-based cook and chef, is it important for you to taste your food as you go along?
Absolutely, Auntie Aisha, it's a golden rule. Yeah?
Okay. And when we speak about, the family and obviously cooking from home, always the reminder that, there's diabetics at home and there's people with hypertension. So we need to know, our limits when it comes to the salt
Correct.
intake and things like that as well.
Correct. And this dish, Auntie Aisha,
Yes.
we're talking about, I myself, I've got high blood pressure, so I have to watch the salt that I eat. So in terms of soy is a salty product. Where you find in Thai food, they generally don't put any coarse or granular salt into the food. The salty flavor comes from the soy and the fish sauce and all those type of sauces, liquid-based sauces that you put into. That's where the salt and the sugar flavors come in. And I've got diabetics as well. So often when I'm cooking for my aunt and my mother and grandmother, and you have to watch the sugar that you put into the food.
And what's your speciality, and also what is it that they love to eat from you?
My mother always gives me one of the tasks to do one of the Eid dishes. So I will usually do a roast or some butter chicken on Eid day. But Auntie Aisha, I like to explore with all types of food. I make sushi, I make Turkish food, I make Indian food, I make burgers and all the stuff the kids like. And vegetables and stuff as well. You try and make that fun so that the children would want to eat the vegetables. And they'll just look at it and say, oh, veggies. It must be fun for them to eat.
Definitely. So one can walk in at your house, I suppose, and see a buffet on the table as well. Mahdi, you mentioned that you brought us a wonderful recipe this morning that you wish to share. And also, probably to our listeners, we are live on Facebook. If you want to go to the VOC Facebook page, we are live. So we'll give you a demonstration on what the plate looks like and also how to eat with chopsticks for those who's not too familiar. Let's speak about this sweet and sour chicken noodle recipe today.
I'm just going to open it so long.
Okay.
So basically, I like sweet and sour flavor. So it's basically playing with the sweet and the sour flavor in your mouth. So basically, it's what I like about it is also for the lifestyle that we are in nowadays. People working until X times, they're coming home and they have limited time to to put food on the table at a decent hour. So this recipe. The prep time, I would say, takes about 10 minutes, but the cooking time is like 5 to 8 minutes. So because it's a stir-fry style, it goes so quick. You just have to, heat up your pan very quickly and everything just goes in. First the onions, and then followed by the chicken shortly. We don't have to brown the onions per se. It just goes in high heat, and then you add in the chicken, and then I add in some garlic and ginger paste. After that, I'll add in my carrots. I'll put in some sugar, as it is there in the recipe. The amount is on the recipe. I think it's about 30 grams of sugar. And then also I put in some vinegar, which is where one of the sour tastes come from. So the vinegar goes in. Now I've got the carrots and and I'll add in some soy sauce as well. Some of the soy sauce.
Don't worry, listeners, we will give you the recipe, the rundown on it.
So add in some of the soy sauce. And obviously the chicken, because we're using chicken breast, it goes very quick as well. And you cut it in, cubes or strips, whatever you prefer. As soon as that chicken is almost ready, add in your...
Do you marinate your chicken before you put it into the pan?
No.
Okay.
No.
And I think this is where the recipe comes in as well, to teach people exactly the method now to do things as well.
Correct.
So this is the result, of the cooking basically. And you say 5 minutes and 10 minutes or 15 minutes and your dishes on the table.
Correct.
And I think, lots of women being under stress because they're working from home. They have to teach from home for the children every alternate day as well. And a quick meal on the table that is nutritious as well, which makes, lots of sense as well.
Absolutely. And you don't have to stick to the recipe per se. You can make it your own. So if you want to add prawns to it, because you can have sweet and sour prawns as well. If you want to do beef as well, obviously it's going to take a little bit longer if you're doing beef. Fish also, if you want to be healthier. Not that chicken breast is, bad for you. And so my thing, it goes very quick. And then obviously your noodles, you allow your water to come to a boil. As soon as the water is boiling, you pop it into the boiling salted water. And 2 minutes, as I say, 2 minute noodles.
There we go.
But the noodles, 2 minutes in the pot, and out of the pot, strain it, and then into your stir fry mix, and then you're done.
Mahdi, let's get the recipe, the contents of the recipe, and then we'll speak about the method once again to our listeners. So this is your sweet and sour chicken noodle recipe by Mahdi Van Der Schyff. He's a home-based cook, so we're not sure whether he's going to advertise that he does take orders. He does do small events as well, and we'll chat to you about that. Mahdi, over to you.
So if we can go through the ingredients first,
Lovely.
Auntie Aisha. So it's about 600 grams of skinless chicken breast, which would serve about 5 to 6 people.
Okay.
I take 1 onion roughly chopped, 1 pepper. Any color will do if you want to go red, green, yellow, doesn't matter. And it's also, a nice form of vitamin C going into the food with the peppers. And then 2 carrots cut in strips, or julienne as they say. 1 cup of shredded cabbage, 1 tablespoon garlic and ginger, 1 tablespoon vinegar, 2 tablespoons sugar, or to your taste.
Yes.
60 ml soy sauce, 60 ml sweet and sour sauce, 6 blocks of egg noodles. Now, the egg noodles, you can find them at Pick n Pay. I see them at Fairfield. Quite a few
Yes.
places I see the egg noodles. And then, obviously, you can use spring onion for garnish, or you can use dried onion, whichever you
Yes.
prefer. Huh? And the method, as we explained, is chicken, onions in, followed by the chicken, followed by the carrots and the garlic and ginger and your soy and your sweet and sour sauce, and then you move on to your pepper. So just the thing with the stir fry, Aisha, a bit
It's quick on high heat.
high heat, quick. So, but the veggies don't have to be like soft. You still
Yes.
want to have
A crunch.
a crunch to it. Otherwise, it's too pop.
Yes,
as
yes,
they
for
say.
sure.
Yeah? And then,
And that is how they retain the color as well when it's
Yes.
not, when it's not overcooked, because you
Yes.
want that crunch in it, whether it is your peppers, your onions, and I think that brings the taste and also the color into your plate as well.
Correct. And all 3 of those veggies we added, the carrots, the green peppers, and the cabbage, you can actually eat all of them raw. So it doesn't really matter,
True.
how well they cook. You just need to have a crunch in it still.
Okay, and with the chicken, when do you add the chicken to it?
The chicken is like second. So first the onions, and
Yes.
just quickly. So no, you don't have to like soften the onions. It's just in on that. I eat probably about 30 seconds, and then the chicken till you feel the chicken is cooked, and then you add your carrots, and you add your green peppers and your cabbage, and then all that ingredients in. Then you add in your noodles, stir it all up together. And there you go, serve it up to the kids.
This is the result that's in your plate, and I'm hoping that our listeners are able to see this on Facebook as well, because you're going to be demonstrating to us how to eat with the chopsticks as well, because I think this is one of the, and I see that you have cashews in it as well.
Yes, it's garnish, yeah.
That's the garnishing
Yes.
as well. And the spring onion you've mentioned
Yes.
as well. And I'm looking at this plate, extremely colorful, because one wants to eat with your eyes when you go
Absolutely.
somewhere, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Okay. So you mentioned serving for 5 to 6 people. So
Yeah.
how did you dish your plate? Because I see the garnishing, into your noodles as well.
So, Auntie Aisha, it is basically, I take my tongs and I basically take a nice portion. I kind of twist it a little bit and put it in the center of the plate.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, I add in some chicken over the top, the veggies and then stuff. Everything is in there.
Yes.
And then you just, my garnish I usually have on the side, and I just sprinkle it over just to, like Auntie Aisha says, so you can eat with your eyes
Yes.
first.
I love it because I see that you've used some of the red onion
Yes.
as well. So you have a choice whether you want the plain onion or the red onion
It's
as
up
well.
to you,
It's up
whatever
to you.
your choice. It doesn't really matter. The red onion is slightly sweeter than the regular onion.
It's nice tasting as well,
Yes.
isn't it? People always say, they hate raw onion, but I think it's absolutely wonderful.
It is.
It is. Okay, so this is now the completed dish that you have in front of you that you brought along with you as well. So to demonstrate to our listeners how to use your chopsticks, you've been doing this, I suppose, for quite a long time as well. So the next time you go to the restaurant, listeners, you don't have to feel embarrassed. This is how it is done.
And Aisha, no, I myself, I am not an expert. I think my kids are better at it than me. They'll say, Daddy, not like that, because they'll take the loose chopsticks. I usually just go for the chopstick
Yes.
that is still stuck together.
There we go.
And that makes it so much easier for me. I like put my fingers in between like that. And I just allow the chopstick, because now if I put it in, it closes basically. You can give it a twist. And there you go. You can just pick it up
pinches
like
all
that
by
the whole time.
itself.
It pinches by itself. So it makes it easier for
Yes.
you. Yeah? I'm not an expert yet to say, I'm going to do the loose ones, and this is how you do it. And that.
Yes, yes.
I go for the easy one. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I'm sure it's easy for us to learn as well. And as you go along, you get better with it. You can actually loosen your sticks as well.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Let's speak about yourself as well. Do you do cooking, mass cooking also?
I wouldn't say mass cooking. I prefer smaller, intimate groups because I like to give people beautiful food. And if you do the mass, it's a little bit more difficult to make things very, very nice on the plate. So recently I used to just post my stuff on Instagram. My friends would say, Mahdi, why don't you sell it? We want to buy that.
Yes.
When they see it, and that's where it started. So now only like on Saturdays I'll take orders from people. I try not to do too much because I want to go within my limits. And we cook. My wife and I, we cook and we have some fun in the meantime as well. And then her part again, she likes functions. My wife. That she gets a kick out of it. She likes decorating and that's where the two of us are a team. My wife is a decorator, and I'm a cook.
And who cleans up afterwards?
The children.
Somebody has to do the cleaning up, isn't it? Mahdi, how can our listeners make contact with you if they wish to place an order within us? And I think sometimes you have the small intimate functions, you have, the little baby showers that you don't want too many people along as well. Yes. And I suppose this is what you're speaking about, doing a buffet, for such small intimate events. Yeah,
so like small weddings we do, but, like Aisha, like I said, then, because there's less people, I try and make it fancy.
Yes.
For the people. So, can I give my phone number?
Of course you may.
Okay.
And we want your Instagram page handle.
My Instagram is just my name, but both my Facebook and my Instagram. But I'm more active on Instagram with regards to food.
Okay.
It's my name, Mahdi Van Der Schyff, M-A-H-D-I, not with a G. So it's Mahdi Van Der Schyff.
Not with the E at the end, just the I?
No, just M-A-H-D-I and Van Der Schyff. So yeah, I have a whole lot of pictures of food that I just made for the family in the house because, the kids here say, Daddy, wow, it looks like it comes out of a restaurant.
The question, who's your biggest critique?
When I started cooking at Aisha, and it was like intense in the lockdown because everything was closed.
Exactly.
So there was no more McDonald's and this and that. So we say, right, what are we going to do in order to get, that type of foods? Because the kids are now craving for it. So first I thought, well, my family, so now every time they say, Daddy, your food is nice. Well, I don't know. But it's until other people, now I also believe them, because until other people also taste and they say, wow, this is amazing.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Mahdi, you're on Instagram on your personal account that is Mahdi Van Der Schyff, Instagram and Facebook. For people, to want to know a little bit more about Mahdi and you're taking orders from people. How far in advance do they have to order?
Generally, we put out our menu on a Thursday or Friday in terms of what we're going to make. And then people have the opportunity to place orders.
I love that you say you put out your menu, which means you stick to the menu.
Correct.
And nothing off the menu can be ordered, I suppose.
That is correct, yes.
So give us your contact number if you wish to.
My number is 083 255 43
and the area?
98. I'm in Boertasig, so it's fortunately the northern suburbs. Because people in northern suburbs are always saying, but we don't get all the nice stuff as opposed to the southern suburbs.
Yes.
I grew up in the southern suburbs. I know what the nice stuff is there.
So you're taking, this cuisine all the way to the northern suburbs, and we want to wish you all the success, and hopeful you'll be inundated. Comments coming on your Facebook and Instagram pages as well. To our listeners, that number for Mahdi Van Der Schyff, it's 083 255 4398. Any final words from your side, Mahdi?
Shukran for the opportunity for allowing me into the studio. And Aisha, it's a pleasure meeting you. And also, I'd just like to finally wish Voice of the Cape a happy birthday for the 26 years. May Allah Ta'ala grant you guys many, many, many successful years, inshallah.
I mean, they say 25 years is life, and so we're into our second life.
Alhamdulillah.
Sentence now. We want to say big shukran for coming into studio and for being, so bold to bring your food into the studios as well and demonstrating how to use chopsticks. And so we hope that this will definitely be, a learning curve for our listeners as well, and that they will be successful in eating with the chopsticks too. From us, we want to say big shukran to your good self for coming into studios as well, and for being a part of the show, the 10am Express, and we want to wish you all the success.
Shukran, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
26 years.